In this video, we're going to talk about slope. So the most important thing to remember is that slope is a rate of change. And what we're comparing here is how y is changing to how x is changing. And this could be in a graph, it could be from 2 points, it could be from an application problem. But that's what slope is. We're comparing how y is changing to how x is changing. We can have 4 types of slope. So if we look at the graph of the line, and our line is increasing from left to right, this is a positive slope. So what this means is that y is increasing while x is also increasing, because again, we always read our graphs from left to right. The second type of slope we can have is if our line looks like it's decreasing from left to right, and this is going to be a negative slope. So what that means is that y is decreasing while x is increasing. Because if we're reading again our graph from left to right, that means our x values are going up. The third type of slope we can have is a horizontal line. So what this means is that there's 0 change in y. The y values are staying exactly the same while x is increasing. And so remember, 0 divided by anything is 0, so this is a 0 slope. The last type of line or slope that we can have is a vertical line. So in this case, it doesn't really matter if we say y is increasing or x or decreasing, because what you'll notice is that there is no change in x. Our x values are staying exactly the same. And remember, we cannot divide by 0. We cannot have 0 in the denominator. That is undefined. And so this is what we call an undefined slope. So 4 types of slope: positive, negative, 0, and undefined. All horizontal lines will have a slope of 0, and all vertical lines will have an undefined slope. So given a graph or 2 points on a line, we can find the slope using the slope formula, which is essentially what we talked about earlier, how y is changing compared to how x is changing. So the slope formula says that m, which is what we use to abbreviate slope, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then these values of x1, y1, and x2, y2 are any 2 points on the line. So you can see, again, we're just comparing the change in y to the change in x. So let's say, for example, we were given the ordered pair -3, 5, and then another ordered pair of 4, 7. And we wanted to find the slope. So we can label these x1, y1, and x2, y2. And then we can plug them into the slope formula. So m is equal to y2, which is 7, minus y1, which is 5, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is -3. And then we can simplify that. So 7 minus 5 is 2. And then 4, remember this minus the negative becomes plus 3, is 7, so the slope of this line would be 2/7. So that would be a positive slope if we were to graph. Let's look at another example. So this time we're given the points -7, 1, and 8, 1. So again, I'm going to start by labeling these x1, y1, and x2, y2, and then we'll put them into our slope formula. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and then we'll simplify. 1 minus 1 is 0, and then again this becomes a plus, so this is 15. And then 0 divided by anything is always 0, so the slope of this line is 0. We'll look at one more example. So again, I'm going to start by labeling these as x1, y1, and x2, y2, so I can go ahead and plug it into the slope formula. So we'll have 7 minus 4 over negative 5 minus negative 5. So 7 minus 4 is 3. And then again, this becomes addition, so negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Remember, we cannot divide by 0, we cannot have 0 in our denominator, so this has an undefined slope, and that is our answer. A note about these two, we cannot leave it as 0 over 15, that would be incorrect, we have to write it as 0. And we cannot leave this as 3 over 0, we have to write it as undefined. And also what this means is that this slope of 0, if we were to graph those points, we would see that they make a horizontal line, and if we were to graph these 2 points, we would see that they would make a vertical line. So 0 slope and undefined slope.